Picks, episode 9. Last week we took a little break. Someone went to Vegas, got to see his dream sport crash and burn right in front of his eyes. My co-host, Donovan Behan.
How are we doing, you guys? Yeah, that was a rough first few days there.
It was
of the Grand Prix.
How do you think
that was
overall
bad.
it ended up?
No, the race itself was wonderful. I got to come home. I didn't get to stay for race day due to work and such.
Yeah.
The race itself, competitive. Verstappen and the Red Bull is just too dominant this season. I think it's more for engineering than anything. But yeah, the first 2 days, if anyone's heard anything or was actually in Vegas as well with me, it was nightmare. Opening ceremony ended early, pouring rain, refused entry to anyone who showed up 20 minutes late. Even though
I heard
the
you
tickets
put
stayed
up
9.
real numbers, though. I heard you were like 6 grilled cheeses, 14 IPAs. Like you were.
Oh, because for anyone who doesn't know, they did a thing this year. If you bought a ticket to the actual 3 days for race day, for like the practices, qualifying, and race day, they comped your food and drinks.
Real,
and so
it's like the Masters.
It was like the Masters, essentially. So when I had to sit for, I want to say 10 hours, 12 hours in the cold, waiting for the first practice, waiting for notifications, waiting on second practice, I just smashed everything that they had because there was nothing else. I did all the simulators. I did all the trackside attractions. The only thing to keep you warm at that point was like the hot ramen, hot grilled cheese that was coming out.
Was it on a scale from 1 to 10? How was the overall experience?
I would say a 3 or 4, honestly.
Whoa, that's really disappointing.
It was very disappointing. Okay, so, and I think it was just more due to the issues they had on the track. For those who like, for the first practice, it was canceled because whatever contractor they used didn't weld down manhole covers and valve drains on the street properly. So one of them got ripped up out of the ground, destroyed a car.
I told you it's just the plot for the next Ocean's movie. That's what
be
this
so
whole
incredible.
thing was.
The race day I heard was great. They worked it out by Saturday, but Thursday, Friday was just awful.
Well, I'm sorry you had to go through that, man. I know how much you loved it, but
No, I'm going to go again. It's only going to get better from
you're
here.
going to go to the one in Texas next year?
I might go Texas, and then it's on my bucket list to go see Singapore and Abu Dhabi.
Of course it is. Give me a fact of the day, though, mister.
Fact of the day. So we're talking a little bit more basketball this episode, so I figured we'd talk a little more basketball.
Okay.
In 1930, up until 1936, so basketball was first created 1891.
By a Canadian.
Until 1936, they used to do a jump ball after every made basket.
What?
So if someone to make a basket, they go back to half court and re-jump ball it. So there was opportunity, when you play pickup ball and you're like winners or losers, that was an actual thing if you had a decent enough center.
So, like, if you had a crazy good center, you had the possession the whole time. You had the rock. It was like having an onside kick every single possession.
Essentially, you had a shot for it, and they had to change it in 36 because that's when basketball first got recognized into the Olympics.
NBA, you want to make this, like, make the in-season tournament better? Tip off after every bucket? I'm losing my mind. I'm betting on every single way I could do that. That sounds like a blast.
You're going to get a lot of Vegas better, and that's how you bring back, like, a huge set. Like, imagine Victor Wembanyama, every single...
Yeah, all those fans of the early days of basketball.
That's how you get them to re-buy in.
All those people from back in the day are like, I don't like this flashy basketball what they're doing now, all the shooting from deep. I miss the good old days when they did a tip-off after every single bucket. Those are the good old days.
I mean, that's 100 years of sports difference right there.
100-year anniversary, NBA, run it back. Don, I have a question of the day for you.
All right, let's hear it.
What is the best week in sports? And when I say that is like, what is the best like overall time stretch of a few days? I have a couple options I'm going to hit you with. You can pick out of these, or if you have one that comes to mind. Of course, everyone's gonna say March Madness. That first weekend of March Madness is so much fun.
It's incredible.
It's a gambler's paradise. You're just going. The week we're in right now, Feast Week, where it's like a bunch of college basketball's going on, football's going on.
There's 7 or 9 NHL games Wednesday night alone.
That's what I'm saying. Tomorrow it's basketball and football. We're recording on a Wednesday, so Thanksgiving for you guys. Crazy NFL games. On top of that, we get a new Black Friday game here on Friday, and then Saturday we have important college football, and then Sunday NFL Week 12. There's another week, which is like the first week of the NFL, college football week, which everybody gets super excited for because it's like, it's our first time back. You get that feeling. There's Kentucky Derby week with a bunch of racing. There's the Masters weekend, which is like the Masters, which is all surrounded by like NHL playoffs and NBA playoffs. But here's the one that I'm going to pick, and I know you're going to pick now that I bring it up.
Sure, let's hear it.
WrestleMania weekend is the best stretch of sports you get.
It's April, so it's outside of NFL season.
But you get some college, you get some NBA playoff games.
Yeah.
You get some NHL playoff games, which is both fun.
Which are arguably some of the best playoffs in sports.
Actually, it's early April, right? So you don't get any of that. It's the tail end of it.
You get the lead up games. Yeah. You get, because they move it around in April. It's not one set weekend. It's just early to mid-April. You get a little bit of March Madness in there. But if you're a wrestling fan, which I'm becoming a wrestling fan, Don's a diehard, it's like 4 straight days of gauntlet wrestling. It's like Friday night SmackDown, Saturday night WrestleMania, Sunday night WrestleMania, Monday night Raw. It's like just a cacophony of like madness in wrestling. That's a great sports weekend. Not better than Feast Week, but it's pretty good. I like Feast Week personally the most. I would say arguably.
Is it because it's also your birthday?
I'm not even outside of that. Just in sports, it's just a great time to watch. I would say even first week of March Madness. I enjoy because you get a little bit of everything during those weekends. For sure. WrestleMania weekend is great. I would say that AEW is putting on their own with All In and All Out, like they're collecting more. But that's most pay-per-views is that you get the Friday, Saturday, Sunday for any major wrestling pay-per-view now. WrestleMania is iconic. It's wonderful. With the hosting in LA last week, and you could feel the energy around people. But
amazing energy.
I like when it's a week of you get everything that you can. So it doesn't matter if you're like, oh, I'm not really into that sport. It's like, great. Well, there's 5 others going on right now that you could go buy into. Like that's just an incredible atmosphere for me.
So that your pick is.
I'm going to have to say Feast Week. I think you just get a little bit of everything.
I've been losing my mind all week. I've been gambling crazy.
You can't
enjoying it. Feast Week is the best. Ohio State, Michigan is like the peak of it, and then you get all the NFL madness the next day.
I think one that you should bring up more often is New Year's. The week of New Year's, because you got all the bowl games.
I have bowl.
You have bowl games. The NHL always does something. NBA always does.
Bowl week is huge because then like it caps off with the Rose Bowl, and you still have NFL games.
Yeah, that's always awesome. Emotionally more invested to me because that's something I grew up on. Is always like around New Year's, the extended family. We all get together and we watch Rose Bowl at the house, and we always hang out.
Huge game, especially like I grew up in Pasadena. I watched the Rose Bowl many times in real life. Like
you've been there.
It's my favorite place to be in the world. The Rose Bowl is magic.
It's a wonderful game. It's a wonderful game.
So it's Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. It's time to talk about what we're thankful for. Okay. And in this segment, we're going to talk about our thankful thoughts. We're going to talk about the things in sports we're thankful for.
Sure.
You come to the table with 3. I got a couple of them too. Don, give me what you're thankful for in sports.
Mine is a moment. It's a moment that meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
Is the Mile High Miracle. Just getting to watch that.
That's the Jacoby Jones.
That's the Jacoby Jones. And like hearing about it years later where it's like Jacoby's come out and he's like, yeah, I stopped running on that route. That's the only thing that's the only reason that play worked is I stopped running when everyone else stopped and I went, oh, the ball's actually coming to me, and had a full sprint, knocking off Manning, going and getting.
His speed is ridiculous.
Oh, it was. It really, really was. And it was like such a big redeeming factor for him because the season before with the Texans, he costed them the playoffs with a muff punt.
Yeah.
So just seeing like that moment for him,
and
then it leading off to Ray Lewis's like career capping Super Bowl, like it just felt like a culmination moment.
It was a beautiful day. I'm thankful for bad kickers.
Okay.
There's nothing worse than like when a kicker lines up, you really want them to miss the kick and you know this guy's going to smash it. Thankfully, we have bad kickers. And those kickers are the lifeblood. They keep you going like maybe they do miss this 36-yard field goal.
Sure.
There's no reason why they should, but then you're there at SoFi Stadium and you're like there's no way the Seahawks miss this field goal. And then they do. And then you're just sitting there like let's go.
Yeah, it could bring the roller coaster of emotions a bad kicker could bring it's such a natural high. It's incredible.
It's awesome, and it's a part of the game that people are like, there's barely any kicking, there's barely any feet in the game of football. I don't care. When it's there, it's electric.
Because it's often when it matters the most.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. Don, give me another thankful thing.
Another thankful thing. Again, it's good. This one's a real personal moment.
I knew you would do that.
Yeah, no, that's what I geared it more. It's like personal moments.
I'm setting you up. That's what it is.
No, I know you are.
Yeah.
I don't like where this is going. I'm very nervous.
Yeah, no.
No, mine was the 2014 Daytona 500. We got to go out. My dad and I have gone to Florida. We saw the Daytona 400 the year prior. The 500.
Wait a minute. They do 400 and 500 laps.
The 400 or the Daytona 500 is the top tier. The 400 is the like their minor. So there's the Cup Series and then there's the rotating sponsor.
With the minor leagues.
Well, I did because the year we did it and the reason why I chose the 400 or the 500 in 2014 is for a friend. I would say a friend of mine. Someone I've always looked up to is Alex Bowman, and who races NASCAR, the 88. Because 14 was his first year running the 500. The year prior, when my dad and I got to go out and see him when he was in the minor, was like we got to go see him in person. We got to hang out with his dad. It's someone that I grew up with.
Yeah, I mean, you raced with him.
I did when we were doing sprint cars together, quarter midgets. He was the guy who taught me how to drive. So just seeing him reach that pinnacle.
Top of the game right now.
Yeah, he's one of the best drivers. Just seeing him reach that level is something like I just hold dear because it's like that's someone I've always supported, someone I've always rooted for on and off the track, and he's given me so much when I was growing up. Like it's just hard not to just be thankful for seeing that happen, and like just like I feel like I've achieved something through him just being a part of his life.
I love it, Don. You're getting real sentimental. You're gonna make me cry. There's another.
Like I have a tear in my eye thinking about that moment.
My thankful for is in the same vein. I'm really thankful for bad basketball players.
Okay.
Like bad good basketball players where you're like,
Sure.
How are these guys on an NBA court? Guys like Jordan Poole, guys like the Draymond Greens, guys that like you're like they shouldn't be at the pinnacle of the sport, yet they do just enough right, and you're just like, okay, I guess we're doing this. Guys like Patrick Beverly, where you're like, they're not getting any buckets, but like they play their way. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah,
that's my PJ Tucker, who will like just play defense for 15.
I want you to know the three guys you've named.
Minutes.
The three guys you've named
all
by
all-stars.
name, all all-stars,
all champions.
But all defensive focused players.
For sure. And
that just aren't really offensively known. They're all just defensive dogs.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. All right, then. I'm thankful for defense, NBA. I barely get to see it. And when I see it, my brain doesn't know how to comprehend it. That's where I'm at.
Because they're all just, they bring such high energy.
I love all those guys.
That you just convince yourself, like, dude, if I just had that level of intensity, I could have gone.
Love them all. Yeah, that's what it is. Those are the guys that make me feel like I could have done this if I was driven in any other way.
Yeah.
Don, give me your last one.
My last one, this one is kind of twofold in a way. It was Kobe's final game, but it was just growing up being able to witness Kobe in LA.
That final game, as everyone else watched,
yes,
knows how important that game was. That game was a moment in time, a time capsule that I will never forget ever.
No, any Laker fan, it's there for you, present if you got to see it.
He single-handedly hit the over for us that weekend.
He did hit the over there.
Sitting there being like, Gordon Hayward can't defend this man right now. No one can.
No one could, because in 30 seconds left, he just hits that like just cold-blooded jumper from just inside the three.
Killer.
Seals it right then, hits the free throws to go up to 60 points. It was just a classic performance in that way. But just it truly marked, like, it was him going out on his own terms.
For sure.
Because I watched that game and I'm like, he can still go. If he wanted to do the resting thing, only play a couple games to see, he still has enough in the tank to be a contributor on another team.
I disagree there. But, yeah, I mean...
I think the argument could have been made. Like, the argument could have been there where he's like, if he wanted to be, and it's against Kobe's mentality.
Off the bench.
He could have floated for another 3-4 easily, but that's just not who he is. And that game just proved he's like, this is on my terms, and I'm doing it my way.
I like it. I'm thankful for the NFL draft.
Yes.
The NFL draft is, to people with bad franchises, everything. Mm-hmm. Guys like Bears fans, me, the Raider fans, who are like, look, I know we only won 6 games this year, But we can always lie to ourselves and be like, we could get a really good college football player next year. And then you're in like October looking at offensive lineman highlights or wide receivers from Florida State, and you're like, this guy's going to make our offense electric. And you're hyping yourself already up for next year. If the NFL draft didn't exist and it was all free agency, I don't know what I'd do. It'd end up like baseball, where I'm just like, all right, find the coastal cities.
Not even just the way, like, not even just the fact the draft exists, but how they present it. I feel
for sure it's amazing
because it's centered around hope. It's like, hey,
it's my favorite night in sports.
It is.
It's my single favorite night in sports is the NFL draft.
I think so, because it unifies everyone. Rarely do you see a collection of people walk out of the draft. Any particular like team.
Always people that are like, we should have got Xavier Rhodes.
Oh no, you always feel that.
Warner.
Like you always as a fan wish like, oh, we could have done this different, we could have done that different. Yeah. But you never walk out feeling, wow, this is we are worse now than what we entered this night in.
Never. You can always lie to yourself, and that's the beauty of it.
I feel it unifies any football fan together of, hey, you guys got your guy, but we got our guy.
I would say 90% of the people drafted a Hall of Famer in the NFL draft at the end of the night. Everyone, you're like walking out of the bar, or you're like looking at the TV, and you're like, this guy's already in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and every team has that.
That feeling's like electric. Every fan has that. I'm so thankful for the NFL draft. Let's move on to busts of the week.
Just to bring the energy down.
Oh yeah, no, completely. We got to start talking about the people that ruined my weekend, and there's no one ruined my weekend like the Los Angeles Chargers. Okay, I'm tired. I'm so tired of watching this organization continuously fumble the bag on the greatness that is Justin Herbert.
Yes.
I don't have to beat a bad drum. Everyone's seen the highlights of Quentin Johnson dropping the passes. Everybody's seen your boy Keenan Allen dropping touchdowns. Everyone's seen Austin Eckler fumble it on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
I'm sick and tired of it. Surround this guy with real athletes. Surround this guy with an offense that's functional. And surround this guy with a head coach that has real cojones that can do stuff besides, I don't know, falter on the 1 yard line continuously.
Keenan and Eckler, I don't really put too much blame on their plate for those specific plays.
Why? Well, Keenan Allen dropped a touchdown.
No, and literally everyone coming out afterwards was like, you know what, transitioning from the shade to the sun, the ball coming out, it does change where you can see the ball.
What?
But because that's not a catch he normally drops ever. Like he did drop it, which is rough, and I know he's blaming himself. I know the team is down on him. I'm not going to put the blame.
I'm not saying he's bad at all. I'm just saying like you have to catch that.
You have to catch that, and you as a professional athlete should be able to track a ball better than the average person.
What about Austin Eckler? Austin Eckler's looked just bad.
He's looked bad this season. He is coming off injuries constantly. I think he's put too much of his body on the line for the team at this point.
Yeah, I mean he's done a lot. Don,
no excuses for Quentin Johnson, by the way. There's too many drop passes.
I didn't like him coming in the draft when they decided to go Quentin Johnson over Jordan Addison. I turned to you and do you remember what I told you? I told you that's going to be one of the biggest regrets they make in the next 5 years. I think Jordan Addison, and he's already proven it, is one of the top tier rookie receivers in this draft.
He's flourishing this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Don, go.
Robert Saleh. Because it just, if you stuck to your guns for this long, and the team has been doing not great, but okay most of the time because of that defense, why are you switching it up now? What?
Do you want them to continue with the Zach Wilson trade?
No one wanted them to.
I didn't want it by week 2. By week 2, I was like, all right, what are we gonna do?
Exactly.
Straight for Jameis.
Exactly. But I think I would have had more respect for him if he just doubled down and went, I don't care. This is our guy. Because you're changing your mind this deep into a season.
Yeah.
And you've been doing nothing but backing him up, saying this is our guy, pushing forward that this is going to happen. Don't make moves at the trade deadline.
Could you imagine?
Don't go look at free agency for somebody else.
Just close your eyes.
You've wasted a season.
Could you imagine the Jets with Josh Dobbs right now?
Oh, they'd be doing incredible.
They wouldn't even be like, all right, Aaron, just rehab your Achilles. We're gonna run it with this man.
This team would have been elevated so much further.
Yeah,
like you could have at least from a fan perspective, could have probably convinced go get Kyler.
Maybe
the Cardinals were looking like they were going to tank already. That would have secured it for them if they wanted to move on. If there's any doubt in that organization, you could have made a move.
That organization's also trash. But.
No, it's not the best. But why would you make the decision now when the season's basically over?
I don't think it's over yet. The AFC does have like a weird little end tail where like the Bengals are probably going to miss it, and the Browns are like.
But they have to start winning games, and they're not in a position to do that.
No, they're not.
If you made this change before the deadline,
it would have made more sense.
It would have made more sense.
Do you
Now
think
it
Robert
just feels
Saleh
like a waste.
should lose his job?
No, he's not. He shouldn't lose his job, but he should. You need to whatever powers that be, and I think it's Saleh who's been advocating for Wilson the most out of that front office.
I think they just know that they don't really have an option. I've seen Tim Boyle throw passes, and it's not pretty.
No, it's not. But they. So changing it this late in the season makes no sense.
I agree with you.
And Wilson's done. His career's cooked at this point because of these moves.
Gold star of the week. We're gonna give it gold star, a little sticker to our guy that shined light, gave a great moment. To me, it's Tommy DeVito, the quarterback out of the New York Giants. This is a stat that everybody knows, but I'm gonna tell you anyway.
Let's hear it.
He has the same amount of touchdowns passed as any other quarterback in New York. That's a full season Zach Wilson. That's a Daniel Jones. That's a Tyrod Taylor. That's also Tim Boyle now. He is tied for first in passing touchdowns.
I don't like that stat.
It's a gross stat.
No,
right?
I'm going to punch two holes into it right now.
Go ahead.
Giants and Jets play in New Jersey.
Yep.
Josh Allen is also in New York though.
No. I'm new MetLife.
MetLife. Okay, in MetLife. I like that one. I like that.
Yeah.
So I was like,
New York
but
proper,
everyone
dude.
forgets-
No one cares. Buffalo's Canada. Buffalo is just Canada. They know it. They're 15 minutes away. They can see Niagara Falls from the top of the stadium.
that is a crazy, crazy thing.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know if that's factual.
No, it doesn't sound factual in the slightest, but the fact that it's like 15, 20 minutes outside the border is...
Give me a gold star.
Just move it up. Just move it up.
Give me your gold star.
Gold star this week, I'm going Cortland Sutton. This man deserves his flowers. Back-to-back game-winning touchdowns.
It's more than that. It's like every week. I turn on the TV.
He's carrying Russell
There's
Wilson.
two guys that score every week. Every time I see Red Zone, I'm like, yep, they're probably going to score. That's Mike Evans and that's Cortland Sutton. Those are the two guys that I'm like, they score.
Big dude in the end zone. I'm just
McCaffrey.
stronger than you. Yeah. McCaffrey just has more grit than anybody else. He's just putting his body on the line every time.
Shout out to Cortland Sutton.
Dude, he needs to get, because especially there was conversation at the beginning of this season he was going to get traded, that he wasn't it for this team.
And then Tim Patrick blew his knee out again, or Achilles or ankle or whatever it was this year.
Oh my goodness, that poor dude.
And then Cortland Sutton.
He's just carrying this team to wins.
I love it. Let's move on to the gambling ring. We're going to go through all of the Thanksgiving games. We're going to give you our take on them. You ready to go, Don?
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with the Lions versus the Packers. Lions open up -7.5 against the Packers. Look, I do love what the Lions are doing.
Yes.
They're able to feed two bell cow running backs. They're able to sustain multiple receivers and tight ends in this offense. Jared Goff is a legit MVP candidate. He's a quiet one. If you can go out there, place a little bet on him, he's got really good odds at +650. It's amazing. That's not my bet I'm taking. I'm also taking the Lions -7.5. Surprise, surprise. Jordan Love, I have not been impressed. It's not been great for Jordan Love. That defense is really good. Aaron Jones out. A.J. Dillon kind of banged up on a short week.
Yeah.
It's the Lions for me, dude.
For me, the big one here is I'm taking David Montgomery under 15.5 carries. Over the last 2 weeks since he's come back from his injury, it's been a 50-50 backfield.
100%.
They've split time because they're finally using Jahmyr Gibbs in a very strong way.
The way that they probably thought they were going to use him all year, which is later down the line.
Which is fine because this is, you start ramping him up going into playoffs, keep him healthy.
Only idiots would have traded him in fantasy football.
No, it's all good there. But with Gibbs, he has yet to cover 12 carries since he's come back from that injury.
Yeah, Gibbs is not touching the ball as much.
No,
but
Montgomery is yet to cover 12.
What?
It's because Gibbs' numbers have gone up that dramatically.
I thought Gibbs was just getting the receiving work. He's getting the running
he's
game too?
Yeah. Montgomery is getting 52% of the carries as his peak.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Gibbs has been getting more on the ground because they only run the ball about 30, 35 times per game at most.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty pass-heavy offense.
So if they're going 50-50, they have to go a little pass-heavy in a Thanksgiving matchup, I feel. Montgomery is just not going to clear 15.5.
So what's your bet?
Montgomery under 15.5 carries.
Gotcha. Let's move on to the next game. It's going to be the Commanders versus Cowboys.
Yep.
Look.
Classic Thanksgiving rivalry.
The Cowboys are 1-11 in the past 10 or 12 years.
Yep.
Of Thursday night Thanksgiving games. I would love to sit here and tell you, hey, the Cowboys, the Cowboys, the Cowboys. When you think of the Commanders and Cowboys playing on Thursday night Thanksgiving, I think of the Robert Griffin Jr. Thanksgiving game. With those bombs he was throwing.
Yeah.
Sam Howell's got those bombs in that arm. He's got the receivers, Jahan, Curtis Samuel, that other guy that I don't like to talk about.
Scary Terry, yeah.
They're giving me too many points, and I know Vegas wants me to take this bet. They really want me to take the plus 12.5, and I'm in. I'll take it. Give me 12.5.
That's such a funky number.
That's why they're trying to get you.
Yeah. No, I don't know what happened to the Commanders. They've blown up the defense, going up to the Patriots, and then just
defense is bad.
No, but
bad.
And they did great against the Patriots, got an upset win, and then completely reverse course. The offense stagnates against the Giants. To me, this is going to be. I like Dak over 1.5 touchdowns passing.
I like that
he hits this number consistently. Washington has allowed the most passing touchdowns in the league so far, giving up the most yards to wide receivers. Dak's hit at least 2 in 4 straight games and 11 of 15 whenever Dallas wins a game.
I think Dak. I might be able to bet that at like 2.5. I would take that at 2.
Yeah, I would take it at least at 2 because I think they get a comfortable 1 touchdown lead. Maybe a 10-point lead after halftime, and it's just going to be a Pollard game.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to do a little fun parlay.
Ooh.
It's going to be called Cooking It Up Parlay.
Okay.
You guys can put that in. A lot of people eat ham. Some people eat turkey on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I think the Cowboys are going to eat some CeeDee Lamb. So it's Cooks and Lamb to score touchdowns. Cooks and Lamb to score touchdowns. Brandon Cooks.
I really don't like your pun. That's solid. That's solid there.
Next game we're going to go into is the 49ers versus the Seahawks. Look, Geno's banged up.
Yes, on his throwing arm.
Walker's not playing.
Out with oblique injury.
I don't know how you cannot take the 49ers -7.
No, I'm right there with you. I don't see a way out of that.
Are we smelling something bad?
No,
like this week. This Thursday is the most bet Thursday night in all of sports.
I mean, yeah, because you have 3 big games going.
I feel like Vegas is on their money right now. They know what they're doing. Are we falling into this trap?
I don't think so. It's a divisional game, so those get messy.
Brock Purdy was lighting it up last week.
But I think that the line will shift more. Well, no, because it's. I was going to say the line will shift more once we get more Geno news, but we kind of only have the Thanksgiving morning to find out if Geno's a go or not. He's been questionable all week.
He's going to play. He's going to play, but it's like, how banged up is the elbow?
Exactly, and like the Seahawks been very lip tight about that. Jamal Adams. Also on that injury report, he's been banged up a lot. He is listed as questionable, leaning towards unlikely, last I heard by Seattle beat reporters. But to me, it's just the entire passing attack for the Seahawks falls flat without Geno. We saw that when he had to leave the game. Drew Lock just isn't it. Maybe with more reps this week, he might do better, but the 49ers, I just don't see a way that they don't feast.
They're on their game right now.
Yes, they are.
Here's a player prop for you. A little Kittle cooking it up. Give me Kittle touchdown.
I like Kittle touchdown. Yeah. McCaffrey, I think, is just a given. I know I know the streak's over.
But Kittle McCaffrey parlay touchdown each. Beautiful.
That's a nice parlay right there.
Let me go to the next game. It's the Browns versus Broncos. This is an ugly game. This will be good defenses.
This will be gross. Because I think, my logic is similar with the one I'm taking here. I'm taking DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, over 175 passing yards. And I think because this is going to be a turnover-filled game.
The Broncos have been really good on defense these past few weeks.
Broncos have been great on defense. They have gotten multiple turnovers in the last 4 games, and they're on a 4-game win streak. They have gotten at least 2 turnovers in every single game for the last 4 weeks. And the Browns are going to get turnovers. They're going to go and hit people hard. Myles Garrett, sack leader with 13 so far this season.
He's amazing. I remember he's great. Defensive player of the year.
He's already a lock. There's no way he doesn't at this pace. I think it's a lot of turnovers, and it's going to be turnovers either down the field shots because these Both these teams like to push the ball where they can. Russ likes a deep ball.
I'm in my head right now,
Okay.
and
Talk it out. All
right, I'm gonna talk it out. Let's have a moment. I'm clearly worried about Vegas getting me because last week I had one of the worst gambling weeks of my life.
It was rough. It was rough.
It was just a beatdown. Vegas wants me to take this over because I see 36.5, and I'm like, they have to score more than that. They don't. They don't have to score more than that.
No, we've seen that a good amount this season.
Give me the under 36.5.
Under 36.
Yep.
I see it as well because that's the one thing about the Broncos that have been very gross about the last few weeks is they have gotten multiple turnovers, but mainly field goals scored off the turnovers.
Yeah, I know.
They don't get into the end zone often.
I still think they're not the offense that scares me to score. It's the Browns. If the Browns can score 2 touchdowns, I'm dead.
Yeah, but
dead.
I just don't see. I don't see a lot of touchdowns being scored in this game, considering both these teams can just clamp up in the red zone. I could see it being
like a 20 to 10 game at the most.
The only way I don't see that bet hitting is pick sixes or fumble sixes. That's the only way I see it. And these teams will get turnovers, but I don't think it's going to be close to the line of scrimmage except for running back fumbles, which everyone falls on. Yeah. Interceptions are going to be downfield stuff.
Let's move on to the next game. It is the Bills versus the Eagles. Eagles come in -3 favorites coming off a huge win last week in Arrowhead Stadium, which was, I guess, a win. It's the worst win I've ever seen. It's the worst win I've ever seen.
Yeah, because it basically came. They got lucky. They got lucky that MVS dropped the ball.
I now can say like Shane Steichen is the fun creative thing that kept the Eagles offense good last year.
Yeah.
This year the Eagles have 3 plays: QB sneak or QB draw, a wide receiver screen, or deep ball to A.J. Brown. One of those 3 options.
Hey.
That's it.
They ran some underneath the Swift as well. Swift screens.
I guess they'll hand the ball off, but sure, it's not fun.
No, it's a very methodical, very predictable, but their skill players are just so good it's been working.
I guess they should have lost last week. Is that working?
No,
it's fine.
They got the win.
Let's move into the Bills. They're playing the Bills. Go.
I'm taking Eagles -3 here. Josh Allen on the road. It's hard to trust him this season. They've only covered once on the road. That was week 2 against the Commanders.
I'm the same way. I'm going Eagles -3.
Yeah,
I wanted to poo-poo the Eagles while I could before I could be like, hey, Eagles, please win me another bet.
No, the offense has been boring to me. Yeah. It's become predictable. And teams are going to, unless they change it up close to playoffs, they reinvent the offense, which could be it. They could be trying to lull team. They know that they have the talent. They're trying to lull teams into a sense of security in some way that they have the offense figured out, possibly.
Yeah.
But it's becoming kind of repetitive there. I think that Eagles defense is going to win this game. They're going to lock down the run. They need a jolt of energy on that offense.
Let's move on to the next game, Don. Sunday Night Football. You're back on the clock. Ravens versus Chargers. Talk it through, buddy. How are you feeling?
No, I'm feeling pretty good.
Number 1 defense right now in football, the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes, we are. And Chargers have a very weak defense. Ravens have been extremely balanced on the offensive side of the ball. Odell has been making big moves. Rashad Bateman was just announced that he will be playing on Sunday.
Is Mark Andrews scaring you?
Mark Andrews
said he could come back in playoffs.
He might come back in playoffs. It's the fracture that worries me.
Isaiah Likely's good.
But we saw early in the season when Mark Andrews had his injury issues, Zay Flowers was the one who benefited. And he stepped up in a big way. I'd be more worried if Odell wasn't getting the ball more and Flowers wasn't getting the ball. Because in past years, it's just been Andrews. He's been our entire pass attack.
But
now we distribute well.
Yeah.
And that it makes me feel more assured. I'm loving the run game. Lamar still elite. Keaton Mitchell stepping up. Gus actually ripping off some big runs now and then.
Gus is good.
No, Gus is good, but he's gone from I will get you 7 yards and I will run through a brick wall to get there.
Yeah, it'll look
where
tough.
He's breaking off now, and it's like, what are you? Who are you?
You do have to feed him a bit, but hey,
it'll get there. It'll get there. It's the Derrick Henry method.
What's the bet?
I'm taking Keaton Mitchell over 41.5 rushing yards. The Chargers have gotten chewed up on the ground this season.
Last week, you tell me, hey, Dio, my favorite bet is Keaton Mitchell over rushing yards, and he missed it.
He missed it by 4 yards last week. And
Can you guarantee me? And it was less than that line.
It was less than that line.
Significantly less.
They basically didn't use him in the fourth quarter because they had the game locked up.
Yeah.
And I love the first thing that Harbaugh said when they asked him, "Hey, what happened? Why didn't you use Mitchell more? Why did Gus keep you in the ground?" The first thing out of his mouth about Mitchell was, "I think our offense needs to trust him more. It's because he's a rookie. We didn't know what we would get out of him in a situation like this. He clearly needs to get the ball more, and he needs to be on the field more." That was
Harbaugh's be saying crazy stuff though. Those brothers. Wild.
Harbaugh say crazy stuff, but I trust it. He's a guy who puts his money where his mouth is. If he thinks a guy needs to get fed more,
right,
this is going to happen.
I'm going to ride with you.
It's a weaker rushing defense.
It is. It's bad.
It's a dramatic.
No Bosa either.
No Bosa. Bosa's on IR. A dramatically weaker rushing defense.
Yeah.
I think if he gets the same amount of carries, he might clear 50.
All right. Then
I'm liking Mitchell this week.
In Don, we trust. I'm taking the Ravens -3.5. I really like it. Yeah. But I understand this is the best defense in football. I still like Justin Herbert.
No, Justin Herbert and Keenan will get it done. The Ravens, where they do the best is they allow yards. They do not have top ranking in passing or rushing yards allowed. That goes to the Browns. The Ravens just get the turnover. We'll let you get a few shots, and then we'll punish you for trying to do the same thing over and over.
Everett might be out.
Yeah, Gerald Everett is trending to be out. He's listed as unlikely.
I like Keenan Allen 7.5 catches over.
I like that as well. If the Chargers are able to get to the red zone, if you think the Chargers,
you could shut out the Chargers.
No. I'm saying if you think the Chargers will have more than 2-3 visits to the red zone this game, Darnold Parham is a guy I'm putting a small.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm putting a small side bet on him to get to get a touchdown because he is a red zone favorite, and Herbert likes looking for big dudes in the
totally
end zone there.
Last game we're going to cover is the Bears versus Vikings. Josh Dobbs on a heater.
Yes.
The Bears looked good for about 3 quarters, then fell apart in the fourth quarter.
Hey, they were able to hang, and that was something nobody really thought they were going to do against the Lions. 3 interceptions on Goff.
I think the Lions come back a little healthier. This is the first time playing with Khalil Herbert and Justin Fields again.
Yep.
You saw the immediate dynamic offense with DJ Moore back.
Yeah,
with Fields and DJ Moore working together.
Fields 104 on the ground himself, 18 carries.
I love the Bears here.
I'm liking the Bears a lot.
+3.5. I thought this line would be at 1.5. It's probably going to move. Take it right now at 3.5.
Yeah. For me, I'm taking the under 45.5. These teams, historically,
they don't score.
They don't score a lot against each other. Lions are
40.5?
45.5.
I like the under.
I like the
under.
In the last 5 seasons, the under has hit 70% of the time when these teams match up against each other.
Wow.
Twice a year. So it's 7 out of the 10 matchups. And the Lions, I think, are on a 5 or 6 year losing streak playing on Thanksgiving.
The Lions are. We're not talking about the Lions right now. We're talking about the Bears-Vikings.
Why did I throw the Lions? No, I think Bears are on the losing streak there. Yeah, my bad. We're going all North, NFC North right here.
AFC, we're hitting every single North team this week. Never done it before. New territory.
Wild.
You guys got to deal with it with us.
That was just a weird thing.
So your bet is what? The
under 45.5. Yeah, it's just neither of these teams score too much against each other. They have each other too well figured out, and especially with Justin Jefferson not back this week.
And it sounds like he's going to be out for about another 2 weeks, which is tough.
That's a rough spot.
Let's move on. One of our last segments of the episode. It's Thanksgiving, as we talked about.
Yes.
A big thing about Thanksgiving is the adult table, the children's table, and where you sit there. I don't know if you guys grew up in a house like that.
No, I think every house divides that up a little bit.
For sure, like that's the children's side. This is where the adults sit.
Yeah, I think that's like most large family gatherings.
In the NBA, it's quite similar. There are the big superstars that eat at the big dog table.
Yes.
And there's a kids table. We're going to go through some players. And we're going to see what players are able to make that jump from the children's table to the adult table. They get to eat with the big boys, the LeBrons, the KDs, the Devin Bookers, the Joel Embiids, the Jokic's, the big name boys.
Yeah, you're superstars, essentially.
We're going to start with Tyrese Halliburton. This Indiana Pacer is throwing it all over the court, leading the #1 offense in basketball.
Yep.
Don, does he get to sit with the adults?
Oh, he does this season. I think arguably he's more and more multiple 30-point games so far this season. He's been white hot. For fantasy basketball, he's on a heat check right now. He's just too much on a roll, and he's done well historically as well. I think that's how I'm kind of looking at a lot of these guys, is not just how are you in these first 12 to 14 games of the season, but how have you been in the last few years? Have you shown that improvement? Have you shown that I'm making that step and planting my flag as this is my time?
I have Tyrese Halliburton as like, yeah, I'm sitting at the grown-ups table, and maybe not everybody knows me there. Maybe he's like a new addition to the family.
He's that cousin you don't see too often, but he's coming in now.
Or he's new. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Everyone's going to know his name in a few years.
Yes.
Everyone's going to be like, oh, I love that Tyrese comes to Thanksgiving.
Because it's a sustainable production that he's doing. That's the nice part.
He's about to blow up.
Yes.
Let's move on to the next player. It is Zach LaVine. Does Zach LaVine get to sit at the adults table, or does he stay at the children's table?
I think he stays at the children's table.
I agree.
No, he's been in the league 10 years, has not put on that game takeover, I will lead my team kicking and screaming to multiple weeks of success.
I think he's
great. He is a great player.
He's got teenage energy forever.
Yes.
I don't think he's ever going to sit at the adults table without a little bit of help, without a partner being able to take him to the adults table.
Exactly, in my mind, and especially with the Laker tied rumors.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's probably not going to happen.
Stop your dreams right now, Laker fans. I'm one of them, clearly. We're not getting Zach LaVine. And if it happens, what should I do, Don?
If it happens, that limits him even more in my mind, because he goes from he's in a role
during that podcast if we end up getting Zach LaVine. That's my promise to the people.
All right. No, but to me, if he stays where he's at, it's a production we're used to getting.
Yeah.
He's not going to elevate. He's
a little lower this year. His numbers are not as good as last year.
No, but we're still early on.
Fighting trade rumors and stuff like that.
Exactly.
No, I hear you.
But we're gonna get the Zach LaVine we know. He goes to the Lakers. That ceiling is immediately cut down because you have too many stars around him.
Well,
he's not going to
give up. Depends on what you give up.
No, but even if you have AD and LeBron,
what if you get rid of AD?
If we get rid of AD, then he needs to step into AD's shoes, which would make him a man.
DeRozan, LaVine, and some picks, and we give up like Russell and AD, and we get run it back.
It could happen, but that to me, he's going to have stars around him, which caps him leading up to being the superstar that gets to that step.
Let's move on to Victor Wembanyama. Is he sitting at the adults table, or is he still sitting with the children? I'm going to go with he's sitting at the adults table.
I have him at the kids table for just this season.
Oh,
he's a rookie. He's a rookie. You give him a little bit of time.
Showed up with the longtime everyone's favorite cousin.
Yeah.
It's the new boyfriend. She met him in France while she studied abroad. She brought him back home. And, you don't want to like him because you're like, this is way too fast, way too new. Mm-hmm. They've only been going out for a couple weeks. You talk to Victor, and you're like, this guy is charming. He can do everything. He's amazing at his job. Welcome to the table. You get to sit with the adults, Victor.
I think he's at the kids' table for a little bit. No, I'll run with that same analogy there. You're showing up. He's only been there for a few weeks. We don't have a lot of space. We didn't plan for an extra seat. We're going to have to put you there.
You're going to sit a little closer to the children.
Yeah, a little closer to the children just because of spacing.
You can still lean in and be like, hey, what are you guys talking about?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's the guy after dinner that is going to host on the couch, and he's going to reign supreme over everyone. He's going to be the life of the party afterwards. He's going to be treated as a grown man moving forward. Just a little too soon, a little too early for him to fully be sitting at that grown-up table yet.
Jalen Brunson, is he sitting at the adults' Thanksgiving table or sitting with the children?
No, he's a grown man. He deserves his seat in my mind. I think this is our
first disagreement. I think he's still with the children. I don't think he'll ever be able to get to that point.
No?
Not saying that he's not fun. I think he's the fun kid. Yeah. You're like, let's call Jalen over here. He'll give you a few minutes of fun things that he says about, and then you're like, all right, I'm sick of this kid. He's good for entertainment, but he's on his own. You're never going to take him seriously.
No, to me, he's been the spark the Knicks have needed. He's gotten the 9-figure contract for a reason for the extension there. I think he's able to sustain. He is shooting over 50% from the three right now in the last week. He has
really good. He's a really good basketball player.
He's a great basketball. But the thing that sells me that he's going to be that man, that guy sitting at the table, is its continued improvement. It's not a few bad seasons and then he jumps up out of nowhere. A few decent seasons and he's jumping up. It's been every season he has stepped forward and a continued improvement. So to me, that means like this is a sustainable level of production. 50% beyond 3 is not. Like he's going to come back down to earth on that.
For sure, but like 45 is.
But exactly. And I think he's going to be in that realm of...
I think he's got to do something really impressive to me in the playoffs or in the postseason for me to be like, all right, welcome to the team.
Yeah, but I think he's at the end seat of the main table right now.
Right now, if he gets in, he has to wash all the dishes. Like that's the way I see him.
I can see that.
Let's move on to maybe our most controversial one. Is James Harden able to sit with the adults on the Thanksgiving table, or is he sitting with the children?
Weird. If we're going along this analogy, he's on the couch still. He has graduated.
I have it written right here. He never left the couch.
No,
he never leaves the couch.
He's gone from the kids' table when he first came in. He had his years at the adults' table. He's now at the grandpa who's just taking a nap on the couch. He's over it. You can tell he's done. He's on the decline at this point.
You're like, hey, uncle, do you want to come and say grace with us? And he'll like walk over and be like, I'm good. And then you could like just hear him chewing loudly next door, watching games, just eating more than anyone else. He's like you're going for seconds. He's on his fourths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I see that. It's just he's regressing too rapidly at this point.
It's tough.
He no longer deserves that seat.
Let's move on to our number 6 player, Tyrese Maxey.
All right.
Is he going to sit at the adults table, or is he sitting with the children?
He has a shot at the adults table next year.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I think he's still sitting at the...
He's at the kids table because this is his first year without Harden in front of him.
Yeah.
He has shown flashes.
Definitely.
He has done well as Embiid's co-star.
Definitely.
He has not given me enough time yet to say that he deserves to be a grown.
I agree.
Like, I don't know if he's a co-star or is he a true star next to Embiid, or is he just benefiting from playing next to a great player? I don't know which of the two it is yet.
In terms of the analogy of sitting at the Thanksgiving table, he is sitting at the kids' table, but he sneaks a couple beers. He's that
16-year-old cousin that someone's feeding him off the side.
Yeah, where they're like, he gets to drink dinner with a glass of wine. He gets one glass of wine. Where you're like, he pops off. He does pop off sometimes, and you're just like, that's Tyrese, man. I see the stardom right there. I mean, he dropped 50 last night, and I was like, what are we doing here?
But I don't know where he sits in terms of stars yet. Top 5 in his draft class.
For sure.
Top 5. Sure. He's solidified that in my mind already.
Zion Williamson. Does he get to sit at the Thanksgiving table with the adults, the LeBrons, why am I blanking on? The Giannis's, Joel Embiid's, all these guys, Jimmy Butler's, or is he sitting with the kids?
I think he needs to be at the grown-ups table. Like, his skill, he elevates so well. His skill is there.
I think this is the first year he leaves the kitchen. I think this is the first year he makes it out of the kitchen. We finally really get to be like, oh, that's Zion.
Yeah.
Come sit at the adults table. If he opens his mouth and it's bad things, like he's not being able to contribute to the adult talk, he will slowly get slid down to the children's table.
Yes. Yeah. He has that seat with his back to the kitchen. He's still the runner.
Correct.
He doesn't get to sit long.
Yeah.
But he's at least has a place there.
This Thanksgiving is very important to him.
Yes.
To sustain that adults table seat.
And I think the biggest issue has just been his injuries.
For sure.
He hasn't been on, every time he's on the floor, you're like, this is why he's magic.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't been on the floor enough.
But he's playing this year.
Yes.
He's playing well.
Yes.
I root for his success, and I hope he stays with the adults.
And he's been very successful thus far in this season.
Very, very good player. Let's move on to our last segment. It is the Pick 6. We're going to give you our 6 best bets of the weekend. I went pretty heavy college football, Don.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you didn't really touch any.
No, I stayed out of... I got one or two, but I stayed out of those trenches for the most part.
Let's start with some more NFL bets.
Sure.
Give me an NFL bet.
Mine, I'm taking the Vikings minus 3.5 over the Bears. I just think this is a gross game.
So when I was talking about the Bears... You're like, I can't wait to fade this man.
Oh, there's 2 of them I'm fading you on.
Beautiful.
One of them you know. One of them you already know.
Yeah.
But the Vikings there, I like the offense too much. The defense has stepped up in recent weeks, in my mind, being able to perform a little bit better, filling in the roles that, like the pass rush has been there more and more.
Their defense against the run has really impressed me this year.
Yes.
Griffin, Emerson Griffin, is that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been playing out of his mind, probably the most quiet sack guy in the league. That scares me on a Bears offensive line. It's not exactly the greatest thing in the world, but in the Bears we trust. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that.
No,
Don, give me another bet.
But no, I think Vikings have it by like a 4-5 kind of wonky score that we're going to get out of divisional game. It's going to be close. It will be a close game though.
I agree. I think it's going to be ugly too. Give me another bet of yours.
Mine, Tyreek Hill over 5.5 receptions. I know that they are playing the Jets, but he has a 32% target share on the season. 36% of all passing plays. He's the first look.
I feel like we haven't talked about Tyreek Hill enough on this show.
No. Well,
this guy might score 2,000 yards.
To me, there's just not much to be said right now.
Oh, he's great.
It's just because it's like, oh, he's doing Tyreek Hill things that we all know that he is physically capable of, and it's an offense that feeds him the ball.
Absolutely.
And yeah, he's averaging 7.9 receptions on this season, more than 6 catches on 80% of the games this season. I don't care what defense he's going against. He's just too fast. It comes down to, do you hit Tua? It's not, can you guard Tyreek Hill?
No, you can't guard Tyreek Hill.
No, you cannot.
Let's go to my first pick. It's the Colts minus 2.5. I think it's a trap spot. A lot of people want to pick the Buccaneers. In fact, the Buccaneers are bet way more than the Colts, but the line hasn't moved, which tells me Vegas likes the Colts. I'm taking the Colts minus 2.5 off a bye week. They're a little healthier. Josh Downs is going to play. Jonathan Taylor said he's getting into the rhythm of this new offense. People haven't realized it's a new offense for JT.
Yes, and he was not there during training camp.
No, he was not.
He's having to learn this offense as the season goes.
Well, he was there. He just wasn't playing or practicing, but like he was still in the meeting rooms. I'm starting to believe in Gardner. I'm not saying he's great. I just think as a game manager, he might be able to just pull it off. I'd rather have Gardner than like some of the other game managers like Mac Jones and whatnot.
Agreed. Yeah. He has the mobility to get something done where he needs to, and he doesn't make too many mistakes.
Absolutely. Don, give me one more.
My third one is going to be Steelers -1 against the Bengals. I'm taking the Steelers on the coin toss. I'm trusting the defense to just game wreck against a quarterback who is going to be blind to this. AFC North divisional matchup.
Canada gone doesn't change you up a little bit?
To me, I'm excited for it. I want to see what this offense does off the leash.
I'm really excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they step up.
Can throw more than 2 touchdowns.
Boy can dream. Boy can dream. I don't know about that far, but to me, it's just going to be gross. Steelers are 16-4 in their last 20 games in Cincinnati. Bengals have yet to cover in their last 5 games against divisional opponents.
Tough.
And with a backup quarterback, it just does not get better.
TUFF, man. Tough. I'm going the Patriots versus Giants under at 34.5.
Okay.
It's a gross under. I'm going to plug my nose. I'm going to try to avoid it the most on red zone, and then I'm just going to count the money when it hits the bank account at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a disgusting game to watch.
Dirty. It's a dirty game. Don, give me another one.
For 4, I'm taking Titans -3.5 against the Panthers. Titans are still undefeated against the spread at home this season. Panthers
I did not know that.
Yeah, Titans are undefeated against the spread at home this year. It's a weird one. You would not expect that out of this team.
I think the Titans are awful. I like Will Levis and I like DeAndre Hopkins, but
they just keep things close. Hammer them. They just keep things close enough. Panthers just gross. They're 1-7-2 against the spread. Titans number 2 red zone defense on the season.
Yeah, I mean when your options are throw it to the big tall receiver that can catch anything or hand the ball off to a monster that'll run everyone over, it's really easy to profit in the red zone.
Well, I'm saying their defense is number 2.
Oh,
they just shut teams. Yeah, it's variable defense. They just shut it down. They don't allow the big play. They force a lot of field goals. Carolina has yet to cover over 15 points in their last 4 games.
Beautiful.
And so if they're already not scoring much and then they're not going to score against this defense, it's going to be bad. I wouldn't be mad double dipping on the over.
Rare double dip from Donovan Bean.
It's going to be a gross game. I think the Titans just dominate.
Do you want another gross one?
Let's hear it.
Saints money line. That's another bet I'm taking against the Falcons. I think the Saints are going to beat the Falcons. I think the Falcons are dead. I think this is the death of Arthur Smith. Nail in the coffin. Call it a day. Wrap it up. Derek Carr, Alvin Kamara.
You don't call Desmond Ridder coming back?
Like I said, The Saints money line, hit it right now before the line changes. Right now it's plus money.
Yeah.
It's only plus 110, but hey, 110 is still plus money.
I think it's just because there's still questions about Carr. Like, it's just about his concussion right now.
I don't care.
No, because even if it's famous Jameis, he still was. The offense is just too many.
Any more NFL
players.
bets for you?
Last one, I'm taking Packers plus 7.5 against the Lions.
You suck.
Love leads the league in over 30-yard completions this season. He is the best deep ball thrower on the season so far.
Yeah, but
that's a weird one. And Lions, that's the weakest part of their defense. Like, they shut down the run, which is fine because Aaron Jones is out.
They're the slowest starting offense in football.
They do. They do. They are very sluggish to start games.
What if A.J. Dillon is not A.J. Dillon, and then they have to rely on they have Jordan Love the whole game? I don't believe in them.
No, I'm taking the shot that A.J. Dillon plays. They had to go sign. I think they James Robinson onto their squad. They're calling him up. Because the third string Smith, I want to say his name is. Smith is out, so they're having to call up backups behind A.J. Dillon because there's just no depth at the running back position. But to me,
can't get behind this one.
That's fine. To me, it's just the offense has been slightly improved. The passing game has been stepping up. I can see a couple deep balls here.
I'm going to move on to college. It's a Thursday night game, the Egg Bowl, the only game on TV, Ole Miss versus Mississippi State. And look, I love Mississippi State. I like you guys. You just fired your coach. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss has got Lane Kiffin. Might be his last game if he doesn't coach in the bowl game. Probably his last game, though. Mm-hmm. At Ole Miss, give me Ole Miss minus 10.5. I jumped out of my chair when I was like, it's only 10.5. I thought this would be like a 19 or like a 22, like somewhere around there. No, 10.5, I'm taking it all day.
If this might be Lane Kiffin's last game, this team is going to play their hearts out for him.
Well, there's going to be a lot of teams coming out to recruit him. They're going to have to pay him a buttload of money. Maybe Texas A&M showed you very clearly, we can pay you anything. We can make you God.
Well, I mean, that's Texas and Texas A&M. They spend the most amount of money, it feels out of schools.
Any team, though, like is going to try to go after Lane Kiffin because he's the next hot, young guy. He's not that young, but like offensive guy that can also
the
recruit
next
his
guru kind of guy.
Yeah.
I see that.
Don, you have another college one?
I have my last pick.
Gotcha.
BYU plus 17 against Oklahoma State. They were able to hang against Oklahoma, had the game tied going to the fourth quarter.
Very good.
They're coming off Aiden Robinson's best career game on the ground, 182 on the ground there.
Very good. That game was in BYU. Does that change anything for you?
Not much. I just think they keep the momentum up. Okay. This is a time where like they have more to prove in this game than I think Oklahoma State does at the moment.
I hear you. I got two more bets to go through. I'm going to go Oregon State versus Oregon over at 61.5. DJ Uiagalelei is probably going to go and probably going to go to the NFL next year. We don't know yet. He's got one more game after this, a bowl game. Oregon, Bo Nix is on a real Heisman campaign.
Yes,
I love Bo
trying
Nix.
To prove it.
This is a teams that really want to score. It's a rivalry game. I know in rivalry games, unders hit very, very heavy, but these are two teams that can score. Give me the over. And then lastly, I'm going to take... It's Michigan. It's Ohio State. These guys are going after each other.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
Harbaugh is not coaching in the game. It's his own fruition. They cheated.
Can we talk about how weird of a suspension that is? No, get the pick out first. But
let's talk about it. Let's talk about the suspension.
It's just a strange concept of...
Just during the regular season.
During the regular season. And the only time you're not allowed to be around the team is during the game day. Or not even during game day. During the physical game itself.
I don't think he should have been suspended this year. I think during the offseason, they should have suspended him. But here's the thing. He's not going to be on this team next year.
No?
He's going to be the Bears head coach next year. I stamp it now. He will be the Bears head coach next year.
With Michigan performing the way it does, there's no way he doesn't get looks.
Michigan can run the ball.
Yes.
Michigan has a better quarterback in J.J. McCarthy.
Yes. Agreed.
Michigan has an elite defense.
Yeah.
Michigan disappoints me constantly.
I mean, that's what they do in these games.
You know who I've been waiting for to disappoint me every week? It's Ohio State. I've been waiting for Ohio State to disappoint me, and they beat the Notre Dames. They win their Penn States, and they win their Michigan for the first time in the 2020s. Ohio State, the Ohio State plus 3.5. Book it.
This is going to be a great game.
Beautiful game.
This is much watch.
Now,
Must watch.
Pray for the parlay. We didn't hit last time. I feel so good about this Thanksgiving Pray for the parlay.
Yeah, so we're doing only Thanksgiving games. We're trying to feast with you guys this week.
Have a good feast week. We're going to start with the Commanders plus 12.5 against the Cowboys.
It's just such an odd line. It's hard not to jump.
We're also going to take the 49ers -7. We both feel very strongly about that game.
I would bet it sooner rather than later. Just in case you get any Geno Smith information that gets closer to the kickoff.
And we're taking the Lions versus Packers first half under 23.5.
Completely agree there. Like we talked about, Green Bay slowest start. Yeah, they're
them and the Steelers. They don't score in the beginning.
No, well, Steelers just don't score overall.
Yeah, but
like that. They have been outgained in every game this season. Green Bay just gets outgained in the first 2 quarters. That's just how this team is operated. It takes a little bit for love to settle in.
That parlay is plus 538 right now. That's great. Put a $50 burger on there. Eat forever. It's going to be so much fun.
Let's get ready for some good teams, good sports this Thanksgiving weekend, guys.
We're going to go eat. We're going to have a great time. Let's all celebrate and give Don a big birthday shout out. Everybody give him a big clap. Let's do clap. Happy birthday, Don. But thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. And remember, pray for the parlay.